at the heart of everything in Latin America is organized crime. It touches the lives of everybody in the region, and that was where we wanted to focus our coverage.
We saw a gap, which was the idea of what InSight, what organized crime was, and we said that we thought we could fill it. And that was the impetus behind the creation of InSight Crime. Organized crime was the issue, both then and now. What we saw then and what we see now is the ability of organized crime to disrupt lives and disrupt them in horrible ways, both sort of physical lives, but also financial lives and political lives, because they are involved in all facets of society.
Organized crime is a multifaceted problem, and it requires multifaceted solutions. So we talk to all of the stakeholders that are affected by this, including law enforcement, victims, experts, other experts, and we try to get a sense of what are the pros and cons, what are the challenges and opportunities of different potential solutions to this problem.
It's worth saying that InSight Crime is a slightly schizophrenic organization. We have two parts. We have the website and our investigative journalism, and then we have the policy papers and diagnostic papers that we produce for international aid agencies. But on the other side, we're talking to decision makers, policy makers, and we're telling them, this is what we see on the ground. This is what we believe works in containing and hopefully countering and dismantling criminal groups and the threats that they present.
I think when you look at the impact of organised crime on a local level, the most devastating thing we've seen is it robs people of their future. You're talking about when organised crime takes root in communities, one of the first things it often does is it takes advantage of the lack of opportunities, the economic problems, and one of the key aspects of that is it starts recruiting children. And then you have this generational impact of organised crime. And I think if you look at a macro level, then you're talking about the corruption of already fragile states. And again, the impact is the same. You're talking about the theft of the future of entire countries at this point, because you're talking about institutions that cannot function, that cannot meet the challenges that this region faces.
I think locally, the effect that organized crime has is that between people, it kind of breaks apart, connections. So when there's a lot of organized crime around, people tend to trust each other less, tend to trust the government less. And this can have a really profound impact on societies and really dissolve societies, basically.
When we're talking about organised crime, the important thing is the communities and the individuals and the lives that it affects. And I think our reporting and our analysis helps join these two sides together, where we're looking at what's going on at these top levels, but we're also understanding how those dynamics impact on communities and impact on countries.
In the west of Honduras, we traveled to many small towns that have been affected by extractive projects and corruption within those processes. And we always try and visit those towns multiple times to earn their trust and gain their confidence. And on one of the first trips, we only were able to speak to 3 or 4 community members. But when we returned a month later, there were dozens of community members that were waiting to speak to us and tell us their story. So it really sort of put the impact of organized crime into perspective and the damage that it can cause to the daily lives of these individuals in very small places that many people often don't think of.
Una de las experiencias que más me han marcado haciendo un trabajo de campo con InSight Crime ocurrió en abril del año pasado, en 2023, cuando visitamos la única prisión femenina en Honduras. Esta prisión estaba básicamente dividida, con una pandilla, el barrio 18 de un lado y la pandilla rival, la MS-13 del otro. Solo 2 meses después de nuestra visita ocurrió una de las peores masacres que se han registrado en la historia de Latinoamérica en cualquier prisión, en la que murieron 46 mujeres. Algunas eran las mujeres con las que habíamos hablado, con las que habíamos entrevistado y que nos habían contado que tenían este miedo de que podría ocurrir un episodio de violencia. Entonces, para nosotras como investigadoras fue bastante impactante, fue bastante difícil también manejar todas las emociones relacionadas para navegar este proceso. Había frustración también por entender que ya había señales que las autoridades pudieron haber atendido y que nosotros incluso vimos cuando hicimos esta visita.
En octubre del año pasado publicamos la historia de Joana, una joven salvadoreña de 24 años, que fue una de las miles de víctimas que fue encarcelada en medio del régimen de excepción de El Salvador, acusada de ser pandillera. Un mes después de que publicamos la investigación, Joana fue liberada. Entonces, siento que esta es como una de las muestras de una de las tantas cosas que se pueden hacer a partir de nuestro trabajo y del impacto que tenemos en las comunidades.
I think it's really exciting how InSight Crime is increasingly doing these sort of really intersectional and sort of broad view looks at different topics, and also really pushing the envelope in certain areas and becoming the ultimate sort of experts and forerunners in certain topics. Certainly fentanyl has been one of those. Tren de Aragua in Venezuela is another, and being sort of the go-to organization for any information on those topics is really exciting and interesting.
It would be easy to say we want to just keep doing what we're doing, do it better, do it more, do it deeper. But I think we have to evolve alongside organised crime. And in a way, we have to mirror and follow them everywhere they go, to expose them at every step of their evolution. And they are very good at adapting and evolving in the face of changing circumstances.
I think one of the major worries for me is the rising threats to press freedom. This impacts hugely on the local correspondents that we work with, and it impacts on our work as well. Our work is already dangerous. If we're working investigating criminal actors, it's a dangerous job. But if you then take into account these threats to democracy, these attacks on press freedom that are coming from very powerful actors within the legal world, I think that represents a huge threat to our work and to the work of reporting on and understanding organised crime in general. Everything from the environment to mass migration to crisis in democracy and the rise of authoritarianism, in some way, in organised crime feeds off that and fuels that, and I think an understanding of that and developing that paradigm to understand those connections is going to be key to combating organised crime in the next 15 years.
Me emociona mucho cómo podemos evolucionar como organización, cómo podemos llevar a cabo nuevas investigaciones que nos permitan entender cómo construir seguridad ciudadana, procesos de paz y cómo entrar en nuevos espacios de conversación con los diversos actores, tanto de comunidades como la academia, como el sector público que están trabajando para lograr estos objetivos.
Yo creo que la seguridad ciudadana es uno de esos derechos que nosotros, los latinoamericanos, no reconocemos y que definitivamente el crimen organizado es la principal amenaza de América Latina. Yo creo que hemos construido una organización cumplida y transparente, no solamente en el contenido, sino también en la administración de los recursos. Somos además un equipo engranado, apasionado por levantar el debate del crimen organizado.
Yo creo que uno de los principales retos, si no el principal reto que tenemos para el futuro es conseguir recursos para poder innovar, contar las historias que tenemos que contar de la mejor manera, de la manera más innovadora, que nos permita llegar a muchas audiencias, que nos permita entregar a nuestros donantes los reportes de forma innovadora y clara para poder seguir combatiendo este flagelo del crimen organizado. Poder diversificar la forma en la que los recursos llegan a nosotros va a ser clave para el futuro de la organización.
We've put together a bit of a dream team, which allows us to pretty much take on any investigative task that we want.
We have also been really pushing the boundaries on what it means to investigate organized crime. That includes looking at things like elites in organized crime, gender in organized crime. We're doing much more with data now. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to push those boundaries.